MAC Media Day 2018 here with head coach Chris Creighton in his fifth year as Eastern Michigan gets ready. August 31st, they'll be on the field with Monmouth in the factory on a Friday night. Coach, let's talk about this team and coming into this year. There's some games you look at and you say, wow, we could have had 8, 9 wins. What a turnaround this team could have this year to sort of hopefully even those things out. Have you seen where these things sort of get evened out by the football gods in the past?
You can argue that in 16 we won some that could have gone the other way. So you pair it with 16 and 17, or is it 17-18? Right. But yeah, no, we're in the last 2 years, we've been a competitive football team. We've been in every game that we played, and we're close to that. This year is going to be no different, I believe. I believe that, if we're the best version of ourselves, then we're going to be really proud of the results.
There were a lot of times in this program before you got here where expectations were not where they are now. You're picked 4th in the MAC West. Talk about the picks, the standings, and what you expect from your club based off of what you saw already in spring ball and what you saw from the prognosticators.
I mean, I get, why folks would pick us 4th. Definitely comfortable with that. I've never believed in preseason polls, never will. I do believe in our football team. Yeah. Last year, when you reduce it to 5 and 7, I think that you missed the mark. I think that a lot of positive things happened as a program and even as a team, this last year, and I just feel as though we will continue to build on that. And so, to me, I know the record was up and then down, but we played pretty good football, and we never broke. 6 straight, basically last second losses, and then finished, winning 3 of the last 4. Our guys have always had a chip on their shoulder. I've coached that way. That's who we are. And again, I really believe that this year's team has a chance to be better than last year's, but we got to go do it.
Yeah, 7 losses by a total of 35 points last year for Eastern Michigan, with several heartbreaking losses. This year, you return a defense that has 6 of your top 8 tacklers from a season ago, adding depth. This is one of the top units in our conference. Talk about having this luxury of having a defense that comes back, it's experienced, and has really shut people down.
Our defense, made an enormous leap in 16, and then another gigantic leap, into last year, and we believe that we can be better. And I think that's the key to our defense right now, is that they're not sitting around, saying, we're the best and we're the greatest and we're going to dominate. Our guys are saying we're going to be better than we were, and we've not reached our full potential. And I think, it starts up front, and, Jeremiah Harris is here, and, with he and Max, and there's some guys that are other players at defensive end that are pretty good. But those 2 guys, have already had very productive careers and are both hungry to be even better. They're just relentless after the football and talented. But we did lose, over 1,000 pounds in our interior defensive line, and we've got some quality players, that return and have played quality reps for us. But that group is going to, again, have to prove, that they can stuff up that inside. And I think it starts with them. But you mentioned, we've got a lot of players back, and our entire secondary, 2 senior linebackers, and even though we graduated 3, and then Brody coming back, at that dog position. So I think our depth is better. We've really concentrated on that. We've recruited well. And so I think we've got a chance to be pretty stout defensively.
Eastern Michigan, especially defensively stingy at home, not allowing a fourth quarter point in those home games at the factory in Rynearson Stadium. This also shows a new offense, and same type of offense, of course, under second-year coordinator Aaron Keene, but you have some big pieces that are gone in the passing game. Yeah. The running game, a different story. It's sort of a tale of 2 stories. Talk about both, please.
Well, I'll start with the offensive line. So Chris Bukowski is going to be part of the program, but is no longer going to be able to play. But outside of him not being able to play, we essentially have the 3 deep of our offensive line back from last year. And, obviously both the run and the pass, everything starts with those guys. It's a great group. I mean, those guys have a chance if they reach their full potential, the best version of themselves, and I have every expectation that they will. I mean, it could be a pretty good offensive line. And then so starting with the ground game, then you look at we'll have 5 returning running backs, and then you're going to throw Carmine Mackey in on top of that. And 3 fifth-year seniors, 2 guys have been captains now for us. So that's a pretty good group, and they make each other better. They each bring something a little bit different, which is awesome in terms of just the diversity of our offense. So excited about our run game. I think you then talk about and segue to the passing game, the tight ends. And Bushman's gone. Bryce Kemp is back. And, Gunnar Oaks, we redshirted last year, but had a really good spring. And then Thomas Odukoye is a tight end that we got back in January, and we're super excited about him as well. So, and then the wide receivers, we've been developing talent, and those guys are going to have to rise to the challenge because, 4 senior wide receivers, are gone, and very productive wide receivers. And so that is a challenge for us. But again, the development of the guys that we have, in combination with the recruiting that we've done, that's an area that the outside world hasn't seen yet. Cannot wait for camp to start and to get our hands on those guys and get going, because we do think that we have some ability there. And then the quarterback position. Brogan, he's really part of the face of the program for 5 years, and now with the Cleveland Browns, he's been back a bunch this summer, which is awesome. And just super proud of what he's doing. And really, if you go back to November 21st, I think that was our last game. Going into that game, we didn't have a single guy on our roster that had a single snap of quarterback experience. End of the first quarter, Isaac Stiebling comes in, and plays well and wins the game, and now has 3 quarters of experience. So Preston Hutchinson, he's done with his red shirt. And then in January, Tyler Wiegers, the graduate transfer from Detroit Country Day, and then via Iowa, is with us, along with Aaron Jackson, who was our first choice, if you will, when we were recruiting the position a year ago, came in January. So those guys both had the winter conditioning and then spring ball and then all the summer. And then Mike Glass and Jarvis Grissom, both we recruited a year ago, but were not able to joined our team and are good to go as of May. And so we don't necessarily have this incumbent, proven, guy who's going to step in and everybody's like, that's the guy. We don't have that. But what we do have is a real quality group that we're genuinely excited about. Who's going to take the first snap, who's going to be our leader is yet to be determined. But it's not a situation where we don't have a quarterback and we're trying to find, the best of a group that's not, qualified. That's not the case at all. And so it's exciting. Camp's going to be a lot of fun. Every practice is going to matter. And we feel good about it.
You mentioned Tyler Wiegers. You have not named a starter. You won't name a starter. You said you don't know. Talk about Wiegers. He is the most intriguing, coming from a Big Ten school, coming from Country Day, highly touted in high school. You get him for his fifth-year senior as a transfer. What are something Eagle fans should know about Tyler Wiegers?
Well, first, he's a great human being. And when we were talking to Coach O'Keefe and Coach Ferentz, back in December, Coach Ferentz said that it was probably the best home visit he'd ever been on. Just loved his family, and Tyler's just first class and was communicating with those guys, and because he did the whole bowl game in December and whatnot, and they just, they weren't going to keep him there as a backup for his 5th year, and so just really endorsed him getting a chance to compete to be a starter, and that's just totally played out. He's a great guy. And that matters, just trust him, great integrity. And the other things I would say, the intangibles, is that he's just got a maturity about him, very composed, poised. He's not someone who's going to get rattled, not at all. And then he's got a very, very, very high football IQ, which bodes well at that position. And then getting into some of the tangibles is that he can throw the football. So, he's what you think of, I think, when you think of Iowa. He's, big, tall, strong, really good arm, who can, know what we should be in and get us into what we need to be in. And so those are some of his strengths. And the other thing is, too, he just fits. We just spent the weekend with him, the senior class, out in Colorado, climbing the mountain. And, it's like he's been here for 4 years.
Mm-hmm. There's also other guys in that mix, which allows you to perhaps do other things at the quarterback position. Talk about some of the other guys that offer things maybe other than what Tyler Wiegers offers.
Yeah, so Tyler can probably keep it in the zone read to keep people honest, but he's not someone that we're going to try to go beat somebody with running the ball. Isaac, obviously, in the game against Bowling Green, people got to see that. I mean, he's 6'4" and can throw the football, but he can run. And so that gives you an added dimension offensively and gives defenses fits. And so that he's more of a dual guy. And so Mike Glass has a really good arm, but his feet are pretty good too. Jarvis is an outstanding athlete. Preston can run the football, but would probably end up being more of a keep people honest guy in the run game. And then Aaron Jackson's going to have an incredible future, and he can both throw it and run it. So, yeah, we do have, an array of diversity in terms of the talent, the kind of players they are at quarterback.
The other question mark on offense is the wide receivers. You did touch on it a little bit, but there are some folks that Eagle fans don't know a whole lot about that are going to be a big part of the 2018 wide receiver crew. Touch on what you can in that category, please.
Well, I mean, there's going to be a lot of new faces, and that would include guys who have been in our program but haven't played much, right? And so, I think outside of Matt Sexton, trying to think Isaac Holder, those two guys have been playing some, but Lamar Harris, even hasn't played a ton, and other than special teams, and he's a fifth-year senior, and we'll have a chance to be out there. And then, we redshirted our guys from last year, so they'll be playing. We have 2 freshman scholarship players, and then we have the 3 junior college transfers. And so a lot of new faces, and, how quickly we can get everybody together and on the same page, and the chemistry, will be part of our challenge in camp.
You also lost a couple of coaches, and having success and having things go your way sometimes is a subtraction as well. Talk about some of the new coaches that came in to add to what some of the others had built upon.
Yeah, so we lost one. We lost Coach Bulla, is an alum at Michigan State, and just super happy for him to be able to be up there, his alma mater and with his parents. He gave us everything he had for those 2 years, made us better, and really appreciate him and like him. He's a great football coach. So our new defensive line coach, Coach Ben Needham, is a former defense coordinator at Kent State. He's worked at Ohio State and down in Arkansas. I think his first job was at Wabash College with us in 2007, and then went with us to Drake University for 2 years. And so I've coached with him before. He's a great coach, great human being, and so we really haven't missed a beat. And then the additional coach was Rob Reeves, who was with Jerry Kill, was a player for him at Saginaw, and then went through that whole really cool story. That staff stayed together at all the different stops, ending up at Minnesota, and he has been a phenomenal addition, coaching our tight ends, and just it fits who we are. He's from Saline, and just again is a great fit. So we're fired up about him.
Let's talk about the schedule. You might be underdogs, 6 of the first 7 games of 2018. Some exciting non-conference, Purdue, San Diego State. Let's touch on those 2 games that will follow your opener on August 31st against Monmouth.
Yeah, so Monmouth was a playoff team last year, and our non-conference teams are all really good, and it starts with Monmouth. I think they won 9 games last year, went to Northern Iowa, in the playoffs. And so that's where our attention is, right now. In the off season, you look at the totality of it, and we're still in the off season, but we're way past that. But for Media Day, week 2, we're at Purdue. I think that they've got a ton of momentum going right now. Coach Brahm's really done an awesome job, and we know that they're going to be a tough football team. We then go to Buffalo. We start the league in week 3, and I didn't know until today that we were picked 4th. I don't know where anybody else is picked, but and I haven't voted. I don't know if I'm supposed to, but Buffalo, Buffalo's going to be throwing their hat in the ring, no doubt. And so that's going to be a really exciting game early on. We then go to San Diego State, who I don't know if they won 10 games last year, but it seems like they have the last 10 years, right?
Yeah.
And then we have Army. We host Army in late October. So those are our non-conference games.
Going to be an exciting year. It all starts August 31st at home at the Factory. Coach, we're looking forward to a fun year with you. Thanks so much for your time. Continued success in 2018.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.